From the NewsChannel 5 network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello, everyone. I'm NewsChannel 5's political analyst, Pat Nolan. Welcome to Inside Politics. Since the first term of Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the spring of 1933, almost 90 years ago, all American presidents have been judged on their performance and results in the first 100 days in office. President Joe Biden reached his 100 days this week. How's he done? What remains to be attempted and accomplished? What has he failed in, and what still remains to look to be stalled? We have two distinguished guests on Inside Politics this week to answer those questions and share their own insights and wisdom. Linda Schact of Lipscomb University played a role in President Jimmy Carter's first 100 days back in 1977. She's a veteran of political communication, both in the White House and in the Senate Majority Leader's office. Garrison is a White House correspondent for USA Today. Everyone here in Nashville knows his name and probably his face from covering metro government for the TENNESSEAN a few years back. Both Linda and Joey, thank you so much for being on the show, and welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
First question I'll send out to both of you. How's President Biden done, you think, in his first 100 days? What letter grade would you give him for what's happened since he took office?
Well, I'll start, I guess, but I won't give him a letter grade. I've never been a teacher, but I will say, I think he's effectively in terms of what he needed to do on the first 100 days, particularly in regards to the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. I think the White House has been very strategic at setting out goalposts in terms of vaccinations, et cetera, that they were able to attain, to reach. And you can see it displayed in his polling marks when it comes to handling the pandemic. He's upwards of 60% in terms of that area. And so, heading into the office or heading into his presidency, that was the number one thing he needed to get done. He also, along the way, got approval of his American Rescue Plan, $1.9 trillion for COVID relief. That was a big accomplishment, even though he didn't have any Republican support. So overall, I think the White House, and I know they're very satisfied with how these first 100 days have gone.
Linda, a lot of people looking at those initial goals he set for in terms of the vaccine and other things, some people thought is perhaps sandbagging, set him a little bit too low, but still you give him very good marks for how he's done and handled that. Most people in the polls seem to think so.
Well, that's right. I think from an overall grade standpoint, and I do teach, so I'm going to give him a grade, and that is I give him a B. They've had some missteps, but by and large, they've been able to maintain the image of the Joe Biden that was empathetic and promised competence, and now is delivering a government that works for them. He's made competence sexy again.
Joey, what's the talk in Washington up at the Biden White House about pushing yet another relief bill for COVID-19 through Congress later this year? There's been some talk about that.
Yeah, I don't see that something that is immediately on the table for the White House. Right now, they're putting a big concerted effort on implementing the $1.9 trillion relief package that they just passed. They brought in Gene Sperling to see that. And unlike there's one of the major themes of the first 100 days is lessons learned from the Obama years. One thing that this White House is convinced is that Obama didn't do a good job of selling to the public how they were benefiting from the stimulus package back in 2009, and then later even the ACA healthcare bill. So, Biden right now is taking a swing. He was at Atlanta yesterday, Philadelphia today. Part of that is, of course, seeking approval, selling the packages that he has on jobs and his family plans. But also, he's trying to remind the public that of what all that this COVID relief bill does. And a lot of it, as is aimed at, loaded with spending to help the poor, et cetera. And so he's trying to, I think they're foremost focused on what they've already passed and making sure that works.
Linda, it seems pretty clear that the biggest deficit for this president so far has been his handling of the crisis at the border. Should he not have anticipated that his election to defeat and replace Donald Trump, along with his wall and the other immigration change that Mr. Trump brought, would spark another wave of migrants coming through, including young children at the border?
Well, Joey's right. Democrats have not always been good at taking victory laps. And the first victory lap that Biden tried to take after the passage of the American Relief bill was truncated because of the border and the mishandling of the messaging around the border. I think that one of the worst things that happened for them in terms of that particular issue is that it was a self-inflicted wound. Yes, I believe they did anticipate it. I don't think they messaged it right. And I think the White House was surprised when the new Homeland Security Secretary said, well, this is the biggest surge in 20 years, without adding, and we're sending everybody back but unaccompanied children. So they were behind the 8 ball in messaging that. And also in transparency, I think Joey will agree, the White House briefing room was filled with questions about why the press could not get in to see where the children were being held. So yes, that was a stumble.
Joey, President Biden has designated his Vice President, Kamala Harris, to be the point person for the administration on these border issues. Has that helped anything? Have you seen any progress being made on this particular issue?
Well, it's too early to say right now. She had a virtual call with the president of Guatemala earlier this week and plans to visit soon. I think she said June, that country, which of course is one of the Northern Triangle countries. But as Linda indicated, this is of all the there's been few missteps, I would argue, right now so far with Biden, but this has been one of them. Biden. The White House has avoided the term crisis, but Biden kind of slipped and referred to it as such a week ago. And as you can, Republicans sense a vulnerable spot right here, and this is going to be, accusations that Biden has overseen a soft border is going to be one of their top issues come the 2022 midterm elections.
Linda, the president says he wants to work on a bipartisan basis with Republicans. He said a lot about that in his joint speech before Congress the other night. Is it the president? Nothing seems to be happening on that. Is the president not willing to compromise enough? Is it the Republicans not willing to compromise enough either? Or is it both sides not really wanting to come to the middle of the road?
Well, I think the extremes in both parties are trying to keep compromise from happening. I do think that the president has been able to redefine the word bipartisan to mean bipartisan support of the American people. And that's what he used in his speech, and it's what his surrogates are saying when they talk about bipartisan support for the things that are not only in COVID-19 relief, but also in the upcoming jobs and infrastructure bill.
Linda Schact of Lipscomb University, a longtime political communicator, both in the White House and the U.S. Senate, and Joey Garrison, the USA Today correspondent in the White House. We're both talking about President Biden's first 100 days. Back to continue our conversation after you watch these messages.